everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Fruit Journey. In this video today, I want to explain to you what mucusless means. And there's a really good book called The Mucusless Diet Healing System by Arnold Ehret. I really recommend everybody to read this book. There's a lot of knowledge in this book that isn't really shared in other places about fruitarianism or raw veganism. This book has helped me a lot understand how detox works, and I really recommend it. So, how mucus works. When you look in nature, all animals, all beings, they all eat what they're supposed to eat. Lions eat their raw meat that they chase, and they start with the blood and the organs. And you have birds that eat seeds, and maybe they eat other fruit or other things. And there are bees, they eat the pollen. All animals and insects and beings have a system, a digestive system that is made for what they are eating, what they're supposed to eat. And all of them also only eat raw foods. Nobody else cook their foods, apart from humans. So what happens when a human eats foods that is not designated for its system? It sees it as an enemy, and it creates mucus to protect all of their internal organs and all of the internal walls. To protect the system, it creates balls of mucus that are going to envelop all of those toxins. And this hardened mucus, which is actually the lymphatic system, all of this lymph is going to be kind of overloaded, because usually the lymph system is only using its system to flush out all the cellular waste, because all the cells also are getting rid of some waste and toxins, because they burn sugar and then they have energy and also some extra materials from the burning. Just like when you burn fire and you have the heat, but you also have the smoke. So those cells are going to do that too, and this lymphatic system usually just flushes it out. But then when you add more toxins, then the lymphatic system gets overloaded and creates more and more mucus, which is more like hardened lymph or old lymph that's infected. And then it's going to keep all of those extra mucus balls or collections, and it's going to keep it in different organs. It can keep it in everywhere in your system. And so when you start eating foods that are not mucus forming, which actually is fruits that are non-fatty and veggies that are non-starchy, everything else will create mucus. And even if you will cook some fruit or steam some non-starchy veggies, it can be a really good way to transition from whatever diet you were eating before into a mucusless diet healing system, because then you will still have some toxins from cooking the food inside of your body, but not as much. It won't be as much mucus forming than any other foods like grains or starches or all the animal products, and that will be helpful for a transition. Nevertheless, I would say eventually you want to get to fully raw fruits and non-starchy veggies, which is mostly leafy greens. And when you do that, then your system, well, after you do that for a while, your system will start feeling like it has more energy to start cleaning out some of the mucus that's been accumulated, because it has no more that's coming in then it can start releasing it. And this is when you're gonna get some cold and flu-like symptoms, and then the mucus is gonna come out. And I've experienced it a lot. And you will spit out mucus, or you will sneeze a lot of mucus. And at first it can be transparent and white, and then when you get deeper in the detox, it will become yellow or green or brown, or even black mucus have been released from really toxic bodies. And that means it's really old mucus that's been stored in the body for many, many years. And when you think about it, it's been however many years you've been eating the wrong foods that your body is not made to eat. And then after all these years, all this mucus has been accumulated. So let's say I started when I was 20. So for 20 years, my body was just overloaded with mucus forming foods. And it is normal that after you start this diet, some people will have a reaction right away, and they will just start getting sick. And but it's not really sick, it's really just an elimination process and a detox process. But other people that have maybe a slower system like me will take even 1, 2, even up to 3 years to start eliminating mucus. After eating very, very clean and mostly fruit, raw fruit, I started getting a lot of colds and a lot of flu-like symptoms. And it honestly didn't feel good, and I thought, what's going on? I'm eating the best food possible for my body, and I'm still getting sick and feeling uncomfortable and having brain fog and all of these detox symptoms that I didn't really know about. And I didn't know that was really what was going on. So what Arnold Ehret explains is that all of this mucus is going to start coming out after eating mucusless for an amount of time. And that said, sometimes the detox can be really, really hard and maybe too intense if you don't follow steps and transition properly. So I would encourage you to listen to your body and really always try to eat mucusless. But if you really feel a craving for something else, try to find the vegan version that is the less mucus forming possible that you want. So for example, for me, if I'm craving fries, because that's been something I really liked in the past, the least, and like fries, deep fried fries, I would do something that I found that would work. I would cut sweet potatoes, because they're less mucus forming than regular potatoes. I would cut them in the shape of fries and only steam them, and then I would have the feeling like I'm eating fries, but without all the oil and all the frying. And so that's just an example of how you can transition and help your body slowly adjust to having less mucus coming in and starting to release more mucus out. But it's also good if you have time and you want to get rid of a lot of mucus to go on only fruits, only non-fatty fruits for a period of time. But the thing is, if you're gonna want to work or study or do a lot of mental work, then it might not be the best idea to do this, because you might get brain fogged or not have so much energy, because then your body is using a lot of energy to release that mucus. So I would say if that happens, which has happened a lot to me in the past when I was eating a lot of fruit and I also was working a lot, and then I started getting the flu-like symptoms, or I would just start getting kind of itchy in my throat, and I would start just steaming some sweet potatoes to slow down my detox. And so I found that sweet potatoes are really a good way for me to transition. It works well with my body. It digests not as well as fruit, but not as bad as really fatty foods or grains. So that's a trick that I've learned for myself. I invite you to try it with sweet potatoes, but also try what is the steamed vegetable that would be ideal for you. Maybe something you really like, maybe broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, anything that you really like to eat. And so I would do that, and then I would not get sick, but then I wouldn't eliminate all the mucus that I needed to be eliminating. And it depends if you want to eliminate or not, and if you have time or not. So, but whether you're doing only fruits or mostly mucusless or mucuslean eating, you will still be eliminating some mucus and toxins through your bowels. So it's important that you keep your bowels moving. And for that, maybe you can use some herbs. I like to use licorice tea, which really helps me. But maybe some other people will like to use nettle tea or marshmallow root tea. That's also a really good one. There's also cascara sagrada. And there's a lot of them. You can find the one that works for you. So it's alright if you just transition slowly and you start by doing only fruit in the morning, and then the rest of the day what you usually eat, and then start by doing that for maybe a few months, and then at some point maybe you can add a salad at lunch instead of whatever else you were eating. So slowly incorporate more raw foods and have only your dinner that it would be cooked. And so there's no like winning recipes, or there's no like program that's specific, because it's different for everybody. But I would just say trust your intuition and keep on track, keep reading the book,